Hey everyone, I was reading the Discord the other day, and someone had linked one of my old videos on the Hammer Guide, which is actually, funny enough, my very first video on the entire game as a whole. So I thought I would recreate it because they did say it was kind of out of date. Plus, it misses a lot of the hammers. So I thought we would just again recreate it and kind of go over how to hammer characters and how to use them, because it is a little confusing at first, but it's pretty simple. So one thing is we have a whole ton of hammers, so I'm just going to show them off real quick. We have a whole bunch. These in particular are no relevance currently. Well, actually, that's not even true, because we do have an event that uses them. But these are for event exclusive memories, so you don't have to worry about them for average characters. These are just memories. They allow you to roll the kind of stats you want on the memory as well as the bonus effects, so it can be pretty cool. Usually you want to just run the silver memories, and then the bronze ones you don't even need to use. So that's kind of the case, and it'll be event by event basis. I'll usually have videos during that event on the memory itself, so it's not going to be of really too much use here. Starting off here, we have some of the newer ones, green and purple being some of the newer ones. Purple being part of the 1 through 10 area, while starting from red and up are from the 1 through 5 area. You'll see what that means in a second. Basically, the 1 through 5s are SPs, and then the 1 through 10s are just normal average hammers. We got purple, red, blue, green, diamond, gold, silver, wooden. Obviously you can tell these are the worst ones. Going up they get better and better, and then right here the purple is the cutoff point, and then SP starts from the worst and then get better and better. I mean, it's debatable because they all do different stats, so you have to see in a second. Probably blue I would say is the better one, like overall for the SPs, but we'll have to see. We'll take a look at the stats again. We'll just go into pretty basic character. We got Amelia over here. We'll go into her stuff. Yeah, this is not my best work. Maybe not this one. We will go over, let's do Elsa. It's the main girl, gotta represent. All right, so this one's okay. So if you can see the numbers here, you can kind of see what I mean through 1 through 10. So we have the 5 area, which is 1 through 5, and then the 6 through 10. These are the ones that use normal hammers, as you can see. The reason they're divided into these two sections is because they do give somewhat different stats. And then these bottom 5 in general are the SP area. These give completely different stats, for the most part, with a very larger margin for error. The range that they give is way bigger than most of these. So these are the accumulative that will build up, and then these are the big guys that you really want to make sure you hammer correctly on your character. So if you click the little I button here, I said this in my previous video, which again, very, very old. You can see how stats are distributed in total. It has become a little messier just because there's more hammers to worry about, and all the hammers for SP basically do different things. So they're a little confusing, but it is what it is. So we'll get to the top ones first. These are just normal 1 through 5. These are the rolls you can run through. You got HP, attack, agility, debuff chance, debuff resistance. 6 through 10, you got HP, defense, agility, debuff chance, debuff resistance. So basically the same thing, but attack can only be rolled in 1 through 5, and then defense can only be rolled on 1 through 6. Then you have the SPs. You have all of these. And then you have different forms of SPs, which is like the blue and the reds. And then you have the green, and then it's a little much, but we'll go over it in a second. You'll see how. So talking about 1 through 10 first, we're going to go through the wooden range. So on the left side of your screen, you can see the range of the wood hammers. And again, you can only run them through 1 through 10, and you cannot use them in the SP area down here. So 1 through 5, the attack range is going to be 1 through 10. Terrible attack. Don't ever use these. They've kind of run their course, especially with how many better hammers we're getting, and they're becoming a lot easier to collect. They're basically just given out for free almost every event, so don't sweat it too much. Just these are the stats. We probably won't go through them all because, again, very low. You don't probably want these hammers on anything, like at all. And yeah, overall, just not the best. Then we have silver hammers. These are a little better. You can somewhat run these. There is a shop that I forget sometimes it didn't exist, because you can convert hammers into higher tier hammers. I don't know how much it's really worth it. Again, they hand out these hammers like pretty decently, like I would say. I had like about 200 of these for a while, the purple ones, but then I started recently doing characters again. It took like 2 to 3 characters, but then I was down a little bit. So as long as you're not like getting every single new character that's out, and hammering every single one, like these should, even though they're the ones you should be using on every character, you kind of want to save them sparingly and just really only use them for your top tier team. Especially because how expensive they are. That's one thing too. Hammers are really expensive. They've been doing a lot better with giving us gold, but even way back in the day, it was so expensive because gold just wasn't being thrown at us. Especially with Transcendence being a thing. Transcendence is extremely expensive as well. So you don't want to be hammering too often. If you can, just aim for a little bit lower tier, maybe diamond, possibly even gold is kind of like the meta you want to be using. And then for those characters you really care about, you want to be using those purples. So back to the silver, 11 through 30 for attack. You can kind of see how it's getting better, but still overall the stats are pretty low. I would say the debuff chance and the debuff resistance as well as agility isn't too bad, but like agility can get a max up to 3 with the purple hammers. So you can kind of see like how it's not that big of a difference, but when you do add it up and you do want to min-max and have the most agility you can have, obviously you're going to want that 3, as well as it's just a higher chance to roll it, I think. I'm not too familiar with the probabilities of it, but I think like once you get higher tiers, obviously it's going to be a little easier to roll higher things. So again, it's probably what you want to be aiming for. Silver's okay, but not the best. Then we have gold. Gold used to be like the golden standard for a while. The diamond hammers and the purple hammers were introduced way later into the game. So for a while, gold was like, hey, that's it. That's the best. 20 to 60. That's a huge jump from, silver's 11 to 30. So the 60 is definitely something not to scoff at. Again, you can roll that as to agility as well. Like the percentages, they only go up so much, but yeah, it's a little easier with those if you want to roll for debuff chances, but still at the end of the day, you want the min-max. So gold, 1 through 5, 6 through 10. Obviously, whenever you see the blank number, if you didn't catch it by now, that means it can't be rolled. So again, attack cannot be rolled on 6 to 10, but only can be rolled on 1 to 5. So basically just think of it, attack can only be here on the left side. You can't get attack on the right side. 6 through 10, 1 through 5. Then we have the diamond tier, which is a little better. These were a lot easier to roll max potential. It wasn't so much they were pushing the boundaries of stats, it was so much as they were making it easier to get those higher tier stats. So you can see a lot of the stats actually stay the same. Agility, now instead of rolling 1 every time you get agility, it's going to be a 2. For attack, it's only 40 to 60 rather than gold's, what was gold's, 20 to 60. So they're making it a lot easier to roll those later stats. But at the end of the day, again, the purple ones were introduced and they pushed the stats forward. So that's what made them so good. So diamond was basically ease of access kind of material. Like they really, again, didn't really push the boundaries all that far. They just made it easier to get to those boundaries. Then we have the, again, purple. So the purple is where things start actually going forward. So instead of 60 as a max, we now have 90. Then we have a 3 agility, and then we have some better percentages for debuff chance, debuff resistance. Was it higher defense? I wasn't taking a look at defense. Yeah, it's a 25% defense, pretty nice. It's just overall way better of improvements. It's gonna be a total of 100,000 roll per hammer, as well as we got slight improvements to hammer animations. Things are just way faster now, so you should take a look at this if it loads. So yeah, it's just quick. Like it feels like they sped it up to X3 and they just made it fast, go, go, go. So I actually will roll. I'll probably roll this on camera just so you can see like the rolling experience here in a second. But let's get through the rest of the. Actually, we can do that now because we went through all the 1 through 10s, and then SPs we'll do later. All right, so I'm looking for, I don't know, like 80 or above attack on here. So hopefully we can just do it. All right, 70 is not bad. I'm gonna take that. This button right here is to continue rolling after you selected a new stat. And then this one is to keep the new roll, and this one is to go back on it. So as you notice, I like being on this page. There's 2 pages you can be on. I like being on this page because it's color coded what kind of thing you're getting. So as you can tell right here, all right, so my attack went blue. So that means I was losing attack, but then my debuff chance became red. That means it was increasing. So if you see something go blue, it means you're losing stats on it. But if you see it go red like it just did, that means you're increasing stats. That's just one thing to note. So yeah, we got the 80 plus, so I'll take it. That's pretty good. Then we got maxed out agility on the right. Then we have SP hammers. So let's get into those real quick. I would not order these at all. Okay, there it is. All right, so these are a little more complicated. You get the 1s and the 2s, the 3 and the 4, and then the 5. So think these 2 basically are their own section. These 2 are their own section, and then 5 is most of the time its own section as well. So for 1 and 2, you can run attack. You can get defense. You can't get HP. You can get everything else: crit rate, crit damage, debuff chance, debuff resistance. For 3 and 4, you cannot get attack. You can get defense. You can get HP, but you can't, and you can get everything else. For SP, you can't get defense, but you can get everything else. So each kind of block is missing something, and that's what made SP hammers so unique in the beginning, was that you kind of had to pick and choose, and it caused a little more variety. But then we started going into other hammers. So we got blue this time around. They can roll. It's pretty much the same thing for the most part, but this time you can kind of fill in the gaps. So if you notice real quick, I actually do want to move these apart so you can see them both at the same time. That's probably the better option. So you can see how blue fills in red's gaps, and then red can fill in blue's gaps. So theoretically, if you wanted attack on both 1, 2, and 3, 4, you could run attack. You would have to run a red hammer on 1 and 2, and then a blue hammer on 3 and 4. And that's how you would get attack on both. So it's kind of like they complement each other, which is pretty nice. But also at the same time, they're not really too good on their own. But also, it's still, again, not really pushing any boundaries. If you see the percentages, they're more or less the same. Oh, also, you cannot run agility. Blue is the one that caused you to be able to run agility. So that's pretty cool. As you can see, also some new buffs. These are a little more complicated. So at the beginning, the one right under agility for the blue hammer, if you can see that, that's going to be start of battle action gauge. So you can actually get an action gauge increase. That's going to be for every single slot. So if you can get a total of 25% action gauge increase, it's pretty nice. It's actually one of the better options. I would say you have to be really smart on where you use it. A lot of the new stats that you can actually roll in SP are pretty unique, and you have to be really smart with how you use it, because you can just put it on a character and it's gonna, be amazing. It could be a dud. You really have to choose your characters correctly on when you want to use that. But yeah, so they do have some slight differences, but for the main core 3 stats like attack, defense, HP, you can fill each other's spots like that with red. And then with green, I just want to pull it up so you can have the image. You can do every single slot is individual. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so the text is really small. So let me go ahead and pick green slot. Let's make that bigger, just for the sake of going over it. So you have a couple new buffs. It's gonna be recovery when getting attacked, which was really good, I believe, on Rim and Ram, the birthday unit. But it kind of fell off. Like it has to be really good on a unit in order to run it. You can't just run it and expect like really good it to be really good, especially because it's only 1%. Like the character has to already have that on the kit or their memory in order for you to complement that. But again, it's like 1% at the end of the day. I don't know how much I like that. And then you have recovery when getting a turn. That's pretty good. It can be pretty nifty, especially if you need recovery to apply certain buffs. I think that would count as or healing. So that would proc a lot of action gauges or passives. For certain characters, I would think that it procs Amelia's passive. So every time you get a turn, you're healing. That could be insane. Unless the character already has that as like part of their passive, then it's kind of like, again, a dud. You have to pick and choose on who you use it on. But then you have some of the core stats. It's gonna be 125, 63 for defense, HP. Let me see how we're doing. It looks like the same stats. I did think it was a little bit more, but it looks like it's the same. But the new stats can just make it really interesting, I think. Then you got debuff chances, 8%. I think that's higher. No, it's not. It's higher than, oh, that's diamond. It's higher than red, right? Yeah, so red had a little bit of an increase when you guys, when the blue hammer started coming out. So you have that 8%. Debuff resistance is still 6 though, so that's pretty interesting. So yeah, they with blue hammers you got 2% more for debuff chance, and then with green hammers you got 2% more with debuff resistance. So they slowly made it better, but it is somewhat better. But the main really core of the newer hammers are these abilities, you know, action gauge, recovery when getting a turn, recovery when getting attacked, but with very select cases, I would say. It's not going to be too often that you probably get that. And then let's see, blue real quick. I want to take a look at. Okay, then we have red. Yeah, so red has crit rate and crit damage, which is exclusive to red. That can be really fun. I use that on a lot of Elsas, so I was wondering where that was for a second. That's why I had that in my head. So crit damage, that could be fun. A lot of crit-based units, especially on mono green these days. So if you're interested in that, you know, red hammers are the way to go. It's pretty easy to get hammers, I would say. Green is a little rough just because they're a little newer. And then same with, you know, blue, purple. It's just going to be that way. It's a gacha game. New things are going to be exclusive for whales for a little bit, and then they're going to start diluting it into the normal pool. That's just how it goes. Although these aren't new. They've been in the game for a healthy amount of time. Just still a little bit hard to get. Either way, I hope that helped. I hope the video wasn't too long. I hope you guys felt more comfortable with hammers now. I think I made a guide as well. I had how to tell how to hammer a character. I think I made that video a while back. That one still, I think, should be fine. If you ever need to know how to hammer a character, probably just check out my videos on the stats and details. If their kit bases around probably a certain stat, that's probably the one you want to hammer into as well. Like, let's see, let's take Festival Amelia, for example, while she's still fresh in everyone's minds. We have a speed-based unit, so you would imagine how I built her. It would be full on speed, 3+ stats everywhere, plus the action gauge at the beginning of battle, just so she can get that extra oomph when she's like right there, so she can get another turn first. Although I do want to try the healing on turn. I think that could be kind of pog. That's something I've kind of overlooked. We'll have to see if it triggers passives. I think that can be like a pretty cool thing. But again, it's like you just need to look at the kit. And if you do have trouble, like even if you can't read the kit and watch the videos, like even if you can and you still have trouble, you can always check the link in the description. That's for the official Discord. They help people out all the time. They always have a help and advice section. Sometimes the link doesn't work for some people. I don't know how to fix it. It works fine for me. It's just a normal link. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, I don't own the Discord or anything. I can't make a new link or anything like that. But yeah, so just ask some people around for help if you ever do feel stuck. But it's pretty self-explanatory once you get the gist of it, as well as you don't have to go into like set or certain methods. I'd say debatably for units like this, for like this Amelia, when her kit is purely based around her agility, and that's like how strong she is, because the more agility she has, the more it translates into damage. For other units that aren't like this, you can debatably just do some other stuff. There's a lot of variety in how you can build units. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. At the end of the day, just not too complicated. You'll figure it out with time. It just comes with experience on how to hammer characters. But I hope the info helped. And if you do want those graphics, again, shout out to the Discords, how I got the graphics. I probably should have said that earlier. If you want the graphics, they have a bunch of guides in there and stuff like that. So that's going to do it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later.